How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Yeah. Welcome to the Deliberate Millionaire podcast. I'm Rosemary Nonya Knight, the Prosperity Minister, and I support ambitious spiritual people to manifest, create, and keep the money, the resources they need to live luxuriously in their purpose. Listen in. I'll see you at the end. So who do you choose to believe? A deliberate millionaire is not someone who hopes for abundance, okay? You are someone who chooses very deliberately what you believe, what you trust, and what you hold steady, regardless of what is happening in the physical reality, okay? So, yeah, questions. Who do you choose to believe? What do you choose to believe? That was actually how the divine download began. Who do you choose to believe? What do you choose to believe? As deliberate millionaires, we don't give away or outsource our belief to circumstances or whatever is happening in our lives, bank balances or a timeline. So it must have happened by this time, blah, blah, blah. So if it hasn't happened by that time, does that mean you don't want it anymore? So, you can't, yes, it's great to say, I want this to have happened by a certain time. But we still hold the faith, even after that. If that time comes and goes and it's not quite happened in the way that we wanted it to, does that mean you don't want it anymore? No. So in which case you still hold on for it. So it doesn't matter what the timeline, and the timeline is, you have chosen something. And so as a deliberate millionaire, you hold to it. So it doesn't matter what's happening in terms of your circumstances, your bank balance, your timeline, your market conditions, whatever is happening in the market, or other people's opinions as well, because that, for a lot of us, has been the thing that gets in the way, actually, more than anything else. It's how you're coming across to other people really worries you. But what we want to choose to, as deliberate millionaires, we choose to believe the divine intuitive nudge rather than just the physical reality, okay? But there's also this knowing, because as we know, one of the deliberate millionaire principles is that you are the authority in your life. So you get to choose who you are going to believe or what you're going to believe. And this is something to bear in mind. The divine will support you whatever choice you make. Sometimes we want to believe that divine will only support us when we're doing something that supports our own lives. The truth of the matter is, the way I start to see it now is, when you see life in the context of eternity, one mistake, one weird choice, in the grand scheme of things, is not that big a deal. So when I say that the divine will support you, whatever choice you make, from the divine's perspective, the end is always going to be good. There is no way for your end to be bad. So whatever choice you make in the middle, it doesn't actually, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that big a deal. To us, however, it is a big deal. So it would be easier for you if you made choices that supported what you wanted rather than choices or started believing things that do not support what you want. Because ultimately the divine will give you energy, will support you, will love you, whatever you choose to believe. Whatever you choose to believe. There will be nudges. If you're asking for something, there'll be nudges. There'll be there'll be attempts to direct you in the way that you want to go, but you will not be forced to make good choices. Or when I say good choices, I mean choices that support what you say you want. As humans, there's a tendency to say we want something, but then to act as though, because of fears, act as though we can never have it. It's not always easy to see that you're doing this. Sometimes that's why I keep inviting you guys to do the check-ins and to have private sessions, because sometimes you don't even realize how your behaviors are taking you off path, because it's all you've ever known. And you may not be paying as much attention to where your behaviors are coming from. What is the belief that your behaviors are coming out of? Because you've been doing this for so long, you may not realize that your behaviors are taking you away from the very thing that you say that you want. But again, remember, the divine will support whatever choice you make. You are the authority, and it does demand a certain amount of responsibility to pay attention, because there's no mistake about you being here, okay? So this is, like, I would say, a divine nudge for you to listen in and check in. Are you acting or behaving in a way that supports your vision? Or are you acting in a way that supports your fear that your vision will never happen? Do you know? Are you aware of what you're doing? Okay? Will you hold firmly to the nudge from me was part of the divine download? or will you be swayed by the physical reality? The physical reality it's the last thing to show up. So you've made a decision, and then finally it shows up in the physical reality. So it's like what we're seeing now in the physical reality is the result of previous decisions made. So are you going to continue to make decisions based on what's showing up in your physical reality right now? Which means generally your life will get smaller and smaller and smaller, because you'll react to what's happening now, which doesn't look like what you think you want. And then you'll react to that, and so behaving as if that's inevitable. And so then if you really think about it, you'll see that your life can only get smaller and smaller if you keep reacting to the physical reality. It's reflecting your past beliefs. It's not reflecting current decisions at all. Because we do live in a zone of what's it called? Time and space. Time and space. So time is a thing for us. So the divine might see us all in this wide open present moment, but for us, time feels like a very real thing. So past decisions will show up at a later point, and your present decisions will also show up at a later point, as long as you haven't changed your mind. Okay? So if you let current numbers or temporary delay or visible or whatever kind of resistance is going on inside of you dictate belief, then you're not being deliberate anymore. You're passively allowing yourself to react to life. And remember, we are deliberate millionaires. We live life deliberately. Okay? You imagine what you want, which I know even saying that you imagine what you want sounds like you're just kind of wishing for something, but no. You need to, as deliberate millionaires, let's really fully embrace the power that is your imagination, particularly when you use it in your favor. Most people are using it against themselves, imagining the worst that can happen, imagining what will happen if war comes to the country, imagining this, imagining the other, imagining. You're using your imagination to create the very thing that you're afraid of. Yes, it's sometimes the thing you're afraid of is very compelling. It's really difficult to not imagine it. However, the moment you notice that that's where your imagination is going, come back to imagining with the divine. Go into your safe space, your safe room with the divine. Imagine the vision you actually want for your life. Imagine the vision you actually want for your life. And please don't buy into this idea that, oh, we're supposed to be concerned about what's happening to everybody in the world. Everybody has the same power as you. Always remember this. Everybody has the same power as you. They may choose not to use their power, but again, the divine will support them in their choices. Same as the divine will support you in your choices. You concerning yourself with everybody else's problems isn't actually going to help them. So concentrate on focusing on what you would like to see happen in your life. That will be of more benefit to the world than you focusing on all the problems of the world. Okay? Okay. So take some time to use your imagination as a place where you plan out your vision, where you the thing that you want to see happen, whether it's your relationships, whether it's your money, whether it's your career, whether it's your health. Imagine it. Imagine what you want to see happen. Go into that safe space, that safe room, and imagine it. Use your imagination. Yeah, it's almost like a blank canvas. You can create whatever it is that you want to create in there and expect it to come to life. Okay? So you choose what you're imagining very deliberately. And you very deliberately choose to put yourself in that place where you are actually taking time to imagine. And then you trust that you are supported, that you are backed up, and that you're not just guessing about what you want. You have decided, this is what I'm going to create. And you're not going to be swayed. Regardless of what the physical reality is doing, you've decided that this must come to pass. So it doesn't even matter how long it takes. You have decided that this must come to pass. And so you are going to stay on path, acting from that place of decision, listening to the intuitive nudges from the divine, living life deliberately, basically, and you keep coming back to this connection with the divine, okay? So that, because I said this, I think it was in last week's thing about, I am one with the divine, I'm powerful, I'm limitless, and I'm never alone. The key thing about never being alone is that it really gives you confidence to keep holding on, even when it seems like nothing is working. So you don't start panicking when you're in that space between making a decision about what you want and actually receiving it. And you don't withdraw trust when things feel kind of shaky. And there might be times even, which this is the difficult one, is when there's a part of you that is actually quite annoyed with the divine, because things haven't worked out as quickly as you would like, and you don't really necessarily want to tell the divine that this is how you're feeling. But actually, you're better off doing so. You're better off doing so. And I know what it can be like, because I know there's certain visions that I've had in my life which took longer than I would have liked them to take. And in the middle, whilst you're waiting for them, you can feel, for me, especially with my relation with the divine, I almost want to start avoiding the divine, or sometimes I do avoid the divine because I don't want to express just how annoyed and frustrated I'm feeling, because it feels like I'm doing my bit and you're not doing your bit. So what the frick is going on, basically? But it's just, in the end, I do have the conversation. So these days it's better to just go straight there and just go to, I just don't understand what's going on. I really don't. But this is part of the relationship with the divine. The ability to say exactly what you're feeling. Yes. I know religion and everything has kind of told us, oh, the divine is perfect, and you should and there's this feeling that you should never, that it's always your fault, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm not saying that I'm not saying it's divine's fault as such. Although part of this divine download did go on to say something along the lines of that, even though it looks as though nothing is happening, there's like from our physical perspective, there's like 8 billion people on the planet. There's viruses, there's bacteria, there's animals, there's there's fungi, there's all kinds of things that all have the desire to meet their own needs. Okay? And all of these needs are met. Which is, when you think about the fact that, including bacteria and fungi and viruses and everything, is all getting their needs met, as well as all the human beings and the animals and everything, and the birds and the fish and everything. When you think about it from that big perspective, you can see that there's a need for things to kind of be shifted and changed to work together to ensure that you get your needs met. So something that can feel quite instantaneous to the divine is that everything is working, but for us it feels like we're having to wait, and sometimes that wait can feel really yucky. Let's be honest, the wait can feel yucky, but we still get to choose. And I mean, I want you to think about that if everything is getting its needs met, can you start to see why sometimes it can feel like it's taken a little bit of time for the thing that you've decided to have happen in your life come to pass, especially if you keep changing your mind about it. So it hasn't happened yet, so that must mean, oh, maybe it's never going to happen. I'll just have to find a way to be content with my life as it is. And then you get excited again. No, no. I'm definitely waiting for this thing to happen, and it's definitely going to happen for me. And then, oh, it's just not happening. And then you go through another phase where you start acting as though you really truly don't believe it's going to happen. And so you start behaving in an opposite way from the thing that you say you want, and all of that. So there's all of that mixed in. So always your needs are being met, but sometimes so I'm not blaming, but I'm saying let's be aware of what's going on. So there's no blame, because we're all human and this happens, but sometimes you don't realize what is going on. And so this divine download did kind of talk about how everything's needs are being met. Everyone and everything's needs are being met. And there's a lot of work that goes in. I suppose that's probably another word for it. There's a lot of what's the word? You know, when people are running transport systems, logistics. There's a lot of logistical issues that go in to ensure that everybody's needs, or everyone and everything's needs, get met. Okay, so understand that is happening whilst you're holding the vision for what you're desiring. Also remember that even as you're going on your journey, be looking for the most fulfilling way to go on your journey, okay? So don't feel like you ever have to stay forced doing something you really don't want to do. I know sometimes it can feel like there's no option around it. Sometimes there's a need to change your attitude around what you're doing. But especially if you're doing the gratitudes every night, I really want you to actually take some time to, even the things that you kind of don't like. It's like when I'm talking to clients sometimes, some of the things that they define as really bad, I can almost always find a way of looking at it in a way that actually supports them. And yeah, that's sometimes with clients, that's the thing that they say. It's like the fact that I can see things in a different way because I'm not in their lives, so that's helpful, as well as I'm very well versed at one, listening to what the divine is saying, and two, holding my ground regardless of what is going on in the physical reality. So I generally have to see things differently in order to keep going. So you too need to cultivate, as a deliberate millionaire, cultivate this way of, well, one, when you're looking at your gratitudes, or even looking at things that you are not so grateful for, and looking at them from different angles. How is this benefiting me? How is this benefiting me? Which is not to say that we settle for nonsense, but it is to say, what if everything in your life is working out for your good, one way or the other? What if that is true? Which it is true, actually. Everything is working out for your good. Make a habit of looking to see how. Make a habit of looking to see how is this working out for me. Because one, it will make your life a heck of a lot easier. And two, it won't stop you from taking yourself off path when you get a bit too emotionally crazy because you're worried that nothing is ever going to happen. And so then you start doing the whole changing your mind thing, which when you again look at the logistics of trying to make sure that everyone and everything's needs are met, but then you changed your need or your desire because you thought it wasn't happening fast enough. So you decided, oh, well, I'll have to settle for something else or go for something less or something. So then suddenly everything has to change again in order to accommodate you. And then you change your mind again. And so everything needs to change again in order to accommodate you. Let's just stay focused, stay decisive about this is what I'm creating. Let's just do that. Just, yeah, it's not that easy. I know it's not always, it doesn't always feel easy. It gets easier with practice. And there's no, I haven't reached the point where I never ever feel any kind of disturbance inside of me when the physical reality isn't shifting as quickly as I would like. But I know that I'm better at it than I used to be because I've practiced and practiced and practiced. Okay, there's a lot we just don't see. Okay, that's really also that you need to get that. There's a lot we don't see. If we were very capable of really getting in touch with our inner self, there's probably a heck of a lot more that we would see and understand. But there's a lot we don't see. And so you're not meant to manage everybody around you. You're not meant to manage every single outcome or every timeline or every moving piece. It's not up to you. Yours is to stay focused on what it is that you would like to create and do your best to follow the intuitive nudges as well as do the next obvious thing, okay? Because sometimes it isn't some magical intuitive nudge that needs to be heard. It's just, okay, this is what I want. What seems to be the obvious thing that I can do that I actually don't mind doing to get me there? Just do it. What's the next obvious thing? Do it. It doesn't always, even the intuitive nudge can be the obvious thing. Okay, so what is the next obvious thing? And that needs to be done. And I'll keep moving in that direction. Okay. Ultimately, do not be swayed. And if you're ready to take your first step onto the deliberate millionaire path to a free, fulfilled, financially abundant, love-drenched life, then number one is to go get the I Am the Authority affirmation songs and meditation program. Link is going to be in the description around this video, audio, whatever. Or if you would prefer to be in touch with me privately, then there will also be a link in the description. It's been a pleasure sharing all of this with you. Again, go forth and prosper. Much love.